Hey everyone, welcome to Hilda's Chapter 13. Today we continue pushing through the remaining T4 contracts, and we're about to tackle the first of the two we have left, and it's an undead mission. Yep, our natural counter. Bleed barely works on most of these enemies, and several ignore it completely, so this is going to be an interesting challenge. Still, we'll see how far our hybrid Spear Electro plus Arcanist setup can take us, using range, control, and the damage types that do work. Thanks for being here. Get comfortable, and let's see how we handle this faction. And well, Hilda jumped straight into the fight. She completely forgot her tactics and control, and things are about to get really tough. Enemies are coming from every angle, so we'll need to use everything we've got to keep this from becoming a permanent loss. We'll give it our best. We have a fire grenade and a smoke grenade to deal with Hilda's rushed engagement. Let's see if we can regain control before things get out of hand. There are way too many enemies that are annoying for our build. The off-tank spearmen can hit us from the same range we use, and on top of that, they're immune to bleed, so one of our main tools is completely useless here. Yes, we have sudden lunge, but when this many enemies show up at once, things get messy. For now, the smoke grenade is keeping the necromancers blocked, but once it fades, that's going to become a serious problem. We'll take down as many enemies as we can, and if things get out of control, we'll have to disengage and reposition. Even so, we're going to give it everything we have so you can watch a good fight inside the chaos that Hilda herself created. Several enemies went down, and with our control tools, we managed to kite all the way back to the exit. I decided to do that because we had some really dangerous enemies closing in, and we were already injured, especially our leg, which made us extremely vulnerable to immobilization. We played it safe, reset the situation, and now we're heading back into the fight. Hilda started this episode pretty intense, don't you think? Actually, we had left those enemies heavily wounded as well. Maybe we could have won that previous fight, but hey, we chose the safe play. Now they truly won't stand a chance. When Hilda switches into full control mode, she becomes completely unstoppable. Those were the enemies from earlier. Look at the distance they came from. Hilda's first move was really careless, almost like she was too confident that the entrance would be less populated with enemies. But now we know this area doesn't forgive mistakes. These guys are really tough. Without bleed, this becomes much harder. But anyway, from this point on, we at least have a fairly reliable flat damage setup. We're going to activate Perception to boost our crit chances and maybe get a miracle or two along the way. Spear crits, with the passive that deals damage based on the enemy's max HP, will give us solid extra damage against this faction, especially once we reach our T5 and see the final version of the build. For now, we just need to play full control, immobilization, sudden lunge, and taking advantage of our low cooldowns, which is one of the biggest strengths of this setup. Did you see how those ghouls drop? Another thing I noticed is that bleed, for some reason, breaks their morale incredibly fast. They start running almost immediately. That's something I didn't experience with other builds. It even lowers the morale of nearby enemy allies just from causing a bleed effect. It's like the sight of the hemorrhage throws them into panic. An unexpected bonus that works really well in these long fights. Alright guys, second floor. And from what I can see, this is going to be a fight against several risen chaplains and priests, and most likely the melee warriors will jump in as well. We'll have to choose our focus targets carefully at the right moments, making sure we don't lose too much health in the process. Once the ranged enemies go down, we can get back to our usual plan, kiting, controlling, and keeping the fight on our terms. And there it is. The fight was fully controlled by Hilda. Once the ranged enemies and the ghost went down, control and kiting took over the entire battle. Hilda handled everything smoothly. She was barely touched, and whenever she did take a hit, it was minimal, always with a heavy price the enemy had to pay. A clean, tactical fight. Exactly the kind of battle this build excels at. Now I think the only big fight left is the boss. I don't even know which one we're getting. I know there's a T4 spearman in the Undead dungeons, and if we end up facing that one, it could be tough, but also very interesting. So yeah, we'll see what happens in a moment. Get ready for whatever comes next. And here we are, facing the boss. It's the Mortician, the upgraded version of the ones we fought in T3. We already know his annoying skill of reviving undead in large groups, but it won't be a problem if we fight them one by one. Plus, when he revives them, they come back with reduced max HP, so they're not as dangerous as they look. The plan is simple. Pull him into the sealed crypt, wait there, and handle each enemy individually. With this strategy, the warriors might actually be tougher than the boss himself. But well, I think we can handle it. Let's see if he surprises us or not. And there it is, exactly as we predicted. He only revived 2 enemies, and controlling the fight was easy. A few hits, and they went down again. On top of that, the boss was unlucky enough that the knockback from my spear worked perfectly. We slammed him into the walls multiple times, preventing him from using any of his abilities, which is basically the strongest part of his kit. His basic combat is simple, as you just saw. Without his skills, he's almost harmless. Alright guys, we upgraded our sudden lunge. Now it's not only hitting for 75% more weapon damage, but it also has half the cooldown, uses half the energy, and it gives us extra crit chance and accuracy against immobilized or bleeding enemies. A really strong upgrade, especially for our control-focused playstyle. So, what do you guys think of the build so far? Keep in mind, those enemies were practically immune to bleed, and even then we managed to pull off some solid fights. But anyway, as soon as I started exploring the area, I found this human T4. I'm actually excited to test how the build performs against them and all the enemy types we find here. Let's see how things go at the entrance. It's usually packed with enemies and can get pretty intense. Looks like we found a really good position, and everything is going perfectly. Is our spear actually dealing more damage here? Maybe we got used to the undead, who tend to have a lot of resistance to both spears and bleed. You can really see the difference now. Even the armored humans are taking way more damage. Looks like Hilda is absolutely lethal against human enemies. It really feels like a true massacre. Hilda is cutting through enemies with absolute precision. Every step she takes shows how focused she is, and the battlefield ends up covered in bodies without her needing to fall back. That level of consistency in her decisions makes each encounter look almost effortless. It really sounds like this dungeon is shaping up to be a full showcase of Hilda's power. Facing T4 humans will be the perfect test to see how far this build can push its damage, and how enjoyable the whole process turns out to be. Let's check if there's anything else left outside, and then it's time to head in and see what Hilda can really do. You can really feel how the new sudden lunge changed everything. The damage spike is huge, and your energy sustain is finally solid. Hilda's current kit is in a very comfortable spot. Adding ball lightning actually makes perfect sense. It gives you a way to punish straight-line rushes and slow down groups before they collapse on you. Pairing that with Arcanist Stasis is a great safety tool, letting you cancel bad engagements and reposition whenever the fight is turning against you. Overall, the plan sounds clean, synergistic, and very fun to play. I think this choice fits perfectly with the style we've been building. Ball lightning and stasis might not be the strongest tools in every fight, but they shine exactly when things get chaotic. Those rare moments where multiple enemies rush at once, or when positioning gets messy, are the moments that can ruin a run, and having answers ready can make the difference. It's not the typical meta pick, but that's what makes it fun. And sometimes those situational skills end up being the ones that save everything. Poor guys, not even their double rush can do anything against Hilda. And on top of that, they seem scared and come at her one by one, exactly where she's at her strongest. In 1v1, she's a monster, with so many tools to control, punish, and keep every duel completely in her favor. Well, they finally got serious and brought some problematic guys together. We used hunter nets and repositioned, but our health is low, and that two-handed axe user can be deadly if we don't play this right. Let's back off a bit and choose this fight from mid-range, making every step count. It's going to be a quick but intense duel. Hilda's dodge was flawless, and determination was active to give that free strike. With that combo plus sudden lunge, the duel was ours without question. Maybe we should have gone for the spear strike instead of dimensional shift. This archer is resisting the bleed really well. And now we'll have to wait for our cooldowns before going in again. Did you see those moments where we were in small trouble? If we had lightning ball or stasis, we probably would have handled everything much more smoothly. With that axe guy, for example, we could have buffed ourselves with elusiveness and stepped one tile closer so that when his effect wore off, we could use sudden lunge and stop his rush entirely, likely immobilizing or bleeding him right away. And from there, a ton of other tactical plays open up. And in the case of Lightning Ball, we would have used it when they were all pushing through the hallway, not only slowing their advance, but also creating daze and even stuns from the knockback the sphere causes. Add Jolt on top of that, which also pushes and lowers movement resistance, and it becomes another really strong strategy to control the whole approach. This part of the dungeon might get interesting. This layout usually means we're getting close to the boss, so stay sharp. Hilda is well prepared for what's coming. And if the next room is the big fight, we'll be ready to handle it. No trouble at all with these guys. Elusiveness and the immobilizations did exactly what they needed to do, keeping every threat under control from start to finish. Is this the boss room? It really looks like it, but I'm not completely sure yet. Let's see who starts coming in, and based on the enemies that appear, we'll plan our next moves carefully. Well, maybe it wasn't the boss room after all. Or the boss just doesn't feel like coming out to greet us yet. Let's keep exploring the area. There's a good chance the classic kitchen room is somewhere around here. A little alcohol before looting and heading into the boss fight doesn't hurt, right? Hilda is just strolling through this dungeon, completely calm and confident in herself, almost like she owns the place. Imagine going through the same thing those bandits did. Hilda waiting for you with her spear already lined up the moment you peek through the doorway. That has to feel awful. Stepping in and instantly realizing you walked right into a perfectly set trap. Now we've finally made it, guys. The boss room. And look at him. Standing right in the front line and completely alone. Makes sense, though. He's a heavy armored enemy, full plate and a build that screams block everything. It's going to be tough to pierce through that kind of defense with our spear, but we'll give it our best shot and see how far our control and precision can take us. We did it. And honestly, I think we won this fight thanks to those first blows. We didn't let him raise his shield early, landed clean hits, and even got some bleed going. After that, he blocked almost everything in close combat, but our short cooldowns kept the pressure up, and our evasion saved us from his bleed skills more than once. That combination is what really tipped the fight in our favor. Mission accomplished, everyone. We now have a full demonstration of how our Hilda performs across every type of T4. Even in the ones where she's at a disadvantage, she can still deliver a strong performance, as long as you know how to manage those weaknesses. And if you made it all the way here and enjoyed the run, don't forget to show Hilda some love with a like. It helps the series a ton. And if you're new around here, consider subscribing to join the Chill Quest community so you don't miss any upcoming episodes. More adventures like this are always on the way.